Yeah, we went to 6, but we're the second public, well, I won't say public, I'm sorry, Tim. I know you should be an independent. We're the second ranked county district in the state, and the other 4 are independent school districts. And when we said top 5, I mean, you're getting to where you can't. There's just not a lot of room.
Yeah.
But that's our goal,
So
right?
then it's like, what do you do when you reach that top 5?
Well,
Well, then we're gonna try to be
It'll be
number
part
1.
4.
You know.
Top 4, top 3, top 2, yeah.
So then when you reach that, then you have to maintain it. Then you
Yes.
have to put things in place that you have to maintain it and you have to stay there. And then reach
And it
other
can
goals.
almost be almost as hard to maintain as it can be to reach it.
Yes.
It
You
is.
know what I mean?
Yes.
To keep the momentum
And then
going.
you have to find
Yeah.
something else that you need to
Work on.
to go higher and better.
Mhm.
Always looking to see what we can do.
I have found
Make
myself
things-
going into meetings this year and intentionally being a little bit direct because I sense a feeling of lax. Because the greatest problem with success is success sometimes, right? So we are experiencing a little bit of what you're talking about.
Mhm.
You cannot rest where you are. So we keep pushing. Our board expectations don't back off. They're great about that. And they do it in a way where it's not shame on you if you don't meet it, is what can we do to help you meet it? But daggone it, we're all gonna meet it.
Mhm.
You know why? Because every conversation we have is kids' lives are literally in the palms of your hands in Menifee County. And what you do with them is what's gonna make the difference for them.
Absolutely. I agree.
What's really hard when sometimes you say 12 years, I think that's an entire career for a student.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
when I
And we
think
want to be
It
perfect
takes 12
now.
years to get there. I think that 12 years, the first grader that we have right now will graduate. And so sometimes I think, oh gosh, how can we move this forward
Yes.
just a little bit faster? What can we do to tickle everybody just a little bit more, you know, to get
Yeah.
enthusiastic a little bit quicker?
Well, here's what you're gonna love. It didn't take us 12 years. It took us 12 years to get where we are today. But we started moving immediately. And one of my favorite things is, we've all heard this, these people aren't ready. I don't know if you've heard that. These teachers aren't ready for that. These principals aren't ready for that. Well, daggone it, if your kid's in that classroom, they're ready, because they better be ready.
Oh, yeah.
So we started moving immediately.
Yeah.
I mean immediately. So we set our goal in 2007. I became superintendent. We set top 50, and I think we reached that in 9 or 10. So we've been meeting goals and changing goals for years.
Yes.
Every time we meet one, it just gets
It
higher.
just gets higher. We
So-
just keep moving the bar.
Yeah. Had we set 6th in 2007, it may have taken us 12 years to get there. But we didn't. We set top 50, and I think it took us 3 years to get there. But all these systems we put in place were changes immediately that rocked people's world, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, our central office is completely turned over. Most of our principals have completely turned over. So, I mean, it was immediate change. Immediate reaching goals. As she said, our first one was attendance. It was huge for us. We set 95%, and people thought we were crazy.
Yeah, like I said.
And then we got it, and then we set a new goal. So achieving those goals, if you set a goal tomorrow to reach it in 2 years, and you reach that, then you set a new goal. Then you set a new goal.
I'll never forget the day that we reached the goal of 95%. I had to take my parents to Lexington for doctor's appointments. And I was constantly checking my phone that day, picking it up. And my dad, who was a retired principal, he's 86 years old right now, so he was in his 80s when this happened. He kept saying, okay, what's going on? Because you've looked at your phone today more than you normally do. What's happening? So I said, well, today we find out if we meet our goal of 95% attendance. And he said, for Allen Central? And I said, no, for the whole district. He said, 95% for the whole district?
As a principal, he's like, why don't you do that?
And I said, yes. And he said, really? We may do this today? And I said, yes. That's why I keep looking at my phone. So it was so funny for the rest of the day. When I picked my phone up, he'd say, did we do it? Did we do it? Yeah. And when I found out, when I finally got the big message that we had met it, I just took my phone and showed it to him. And he said, in 1985, if somebody had told me that we would have done this, he said, I would have thought that they were crazy. He said,
Well,
so it was just wow.
And I have to remind my board occasionally, a couple months ago, we dropped to like 94 and a half that month, and they were like, the world was ending. And I said, just remember, 6, 7, 8 years ago, if we'd have been 94, we'd all been partying. So we got to keep it in perspective too.
Yeah.
You're dealing with sickness, but our board is relentless, but they're also understanding. And just by speaking with you all, you got great heart. I can tell you're going to do some great things for kids, and we'll be happy to help anyone we can. We got lots of documents, lots of systems, he knows. All this stuff I'm telling you about, we've got systems, we've got things in place, written documents that can be copied or changed, or, so anyway, we can help, we'd be
Yeah,
glad to help.
anything that you all need,
I know a
appreciate.
few teachers got this stuff too.
Yeah, whenever state management came in, I had been on the board longer than anybody, and I'm still a youngster. But one of the things that I think they brought is sitting here for 4 or 5 years before it happened. We saw a lot of paper come across our desk. Absolutely, you saw all kinds of things that you had to look at. But then we didn't always see the process behind it. And to understand the process behind it is to better understand what you're looking at. So when we had to get all those administrative procedures in place, and this is in your lane, and this is in your lane, and I know who to call to do this and that, it's helped me understand completely different side of what the school board member needs to know and needs to be. And so the ones that are coming on now, they're gonna learn that process, where I was like, I had to learn it on the backside. So I felt like for the first few years, that really and truthfully, I wasn't a very informative, good board member, because I didn't
Understand the
understand what I
process.
should have known before.
Well, you mentioned teachers, of course, board's role with personnel and all that, but what I would tell you is that when you get your superintendent or your state manager, one of the things, I did it today, I told our principals, you need to go back to your schools, and we were talking about a couple of things, getting ready for the end of the year, the ACT just passed, and we're really big on our ACT right now. We've raised it over a full point.
That's another one of our goals.
Yeah, 19.5 is our goal. But we've raised our ACT, of course, now all kids take it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first year we gave it, we were 16.2. Now we're 18.5. And that's with all kids taking it, special ed, everything, and 100% of our kids take it. You check the data, some districts don't have 100%. We got 100%. But today I told our principals, you've got to get leaders who will look people in the eye and say you're not getting it done. And if you don't, she and I talked about this on the way down here, if you don't want to be what we need you to be for kids, maybe Menifee County's not the best place for you.
Absolutely.
That's not being cold, it's just we care about kids.
Yeah.
We want you, and you know what happened, what's happened in our county? The people who didn't want to do that left, retired.
Retired, they got out.
But now, the people in our county, they'll run through that wall for a kid. They just will.
Or
All
when we
of them.
first started this,
Yeah.
we kind of had that, didn't want to, and like you said, then, you just have to make it, clear to them, this is how we're gonna be, this is our expectations, this is what you're gonna do. If it's not for you, then maybe you need to find somewhere else it is.
We took teachers' planning periods, 1 day a week for PLCs and had 0 complaints.
When this first started, how many did you, as a percentage of the teachers' knowledge, how many said, well, that's not the way we used to do it, that type of mentality?
Yeah, we had that quite a bit for the first year. The biggest thing we had to overcome, and you may or may not deal with this, these kids can't. The parents don't care.
Not as
I
well,
haven't heard that.
some of
I haven't
that,
heard it,
but it's staff buy-in, I think, is one of the things I feel, as a parent, I feel that's needed here, is
Well-
staff buying into,
what
this is
you all want.
to what we want,
Yeah.
what we need.
Well, then those systems have got to be in place.
Yeah.
And once again, that's the key. But our biggest thing was people doubting whether or not the kids actually could because of their home life. And once again, that, you will not hear that in our, we accept no excuses.
Yeah.
Meet kids where they are, take them where they need to go.
To
Yes.
be honest, because
Exactly.
they don't have a person at home to push them.
Exactly.
That's a reason to push harder, in my opinion.
But I've probably talked with 30 teachers in my office about their willingness to buy in or not buy in over 9 years. And, probably 4 principals. But remember now, we got 1,000 employees.
Yeah, it's a
So-
lot bigger district than Westwood still.
Overall, it's not been bad at all. Because people will live up to or down to your expectations.
They
I
will.
firmly
I
believe.
agree.
Kids and adults. So when the board sets a goal for 95% attendance, half of your people right off the bat says, let's go get it. Then you got, 10 you got to drag.
Yeah.
And 30 you got to, 40% you got to motivate.
Yeah.
You got to put
Yeah, give
systems,
incentives.
you got to put systems in place.
There you go,
Yeah.
incentives.
Incentives.
And reward them when they achieve it.
Mhm.
I found, there's people in my office, if I ask them to do something, they do it, and I go pat them on the back, 2 weeks later, they'll run through that wall for me. Kids are the same way, all adults are the same way, so if you set a goal, reward it. And we struggle, I got people in my office that's really good at that, that's not my cup of tea. I'm not real creative when it comes to rewarding, but I have people that are. But we can even do better at that. What other questions do you have?
Well, this actually goes to Mr. Spencer. You've seen some of the formulations and ways that they're doing that. Which ones are we doing now, and which ones do you think are the next online for Menifee County? Because you're knowing some of the systems that they're using.
Well, of course, the first thing is we're gonna start taking a look at staff attendance. That's our, and we actually do them. When I report to the state board, I actually do the staff attendance. So that's one of the things that we're gonna start taking a look at, because it's really, when you start looking at your budget, it's really starting.
Could you start reporting that to us with the other,
We can.
the student
We can,
attendance?
that's for the
So you can
16,
do like we
17,
did,
18 school
that if
year.
they have a staff attendance below a
Yeah.
certain percentage, you can have the principal come and talk to you and see, you know, that way you all know what's going on. Is there illness or like, we had a school that had less than 90% attendance one month and I called Henry and I was like, what's going on? I said, their certified staff was like 80-some%. Well, they had 4 teachers have babies all at the same time.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
he said. He was like, give them a break. And I was like, okay.
Well, and if you're a small school, you got 4 people out having babies, it's kills your attendance.
So,
And
So
that
he was
happens
like,
sometimes.
give them a break
Yes.
at the meeting. I was like, okay, I won't say that. You got a young set of teachers there,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, the next thing, of course, is the college and career readiness. I think last year we were at 75%. I think the previous year we were at 38. So that's one of the things that we were focused on. Of course, the ACT, I think they were at 17.5 last year. So we do have a goal of 18 with that. So those are just those protocols put in place. Of course, we are going to start looking at our technology. The district has relied heavily upon data sync
Oh,
to the computers, so we're gonna start looking at the budget to see if we can't start implementing some one-to-one devices for the kids.
Well, we have to set a plan to, because they turn over, you know,
Right.
as technology changes, so we gotta set a plan in motion for that.
The attendance overall, and you asked some of the things that's been working, I think attendance in the district is, we're hovering around, our goal is 96, we've been around 95.
That's awesome.
Of course, this year's been a little bit challenging because
Yeah.
we've had more sickness than normal.
Because we haven't had
But we do
breaks.
have systems and protocol in place. Some of the things that we've looked at, of course, is policy and setting procedures. We went through the entire policy manual. We've had teams look at the policies, and I think before a principal calls now, one of the first questions I will ask them, have you looked at your policy on this? And if they tell me no, then I'll say, you call me back. Well, after you look at your policy, if you need to call me back, call me back.
Yeah.
So just the actual, the financial aspect of letting people know the systems, the finances. I mean, when the state came in, I guess you guys had to do a line of credit of 350,000, but you actually ended with 400,000 to the good that year.
But nobody knew that.
But then putting systems in place as far as purchasing, you know, that if you're gonna make a purchase for the month, and you know, bills need to be paid, you need to get your items in at you know, a certain time, and it's just getting those protocols in place for them. And so the financial aspect of it, and it takes a good folks in your office to have to learn those things.
Well, we needed a financial manager. We didn't need an accountant and didn't need a
Yeah.
bookkeeper. We needed a financial manager. And the lady that we hired has done a lot of things that have helped us save money. Even, you know, took on some things that have helped us, you know, especially like we have the gas cards now for the buses where they can spend money at the local area. And our cost is down 30-some%.
It's unbelievable.
You know, and we were expecting it to be at or even slightly above, but we were giving local, you know, the local people money back for the gas, so that we felt like that was, yes, we were gonna do it, and then we ended up saving 30%, we're like, oh my goodness, you know? So we've had a financial manager in place to help with that, and that's been
And the big
instrumental, I
part
think.
for us is the curriculum component. We're actually meeting right now with, we've got curriculum teams developed, of just actually going through our entire curriculum, and the big focus is on math and reading. It's unacceptable with the scores that we currently have,
Mhm.
and I use you a lot. I mean, because, you know, I'm from Eastern Kentucky as well, and Eastern Kentucky kids, as you talk about culture, I grew up in Wolf. I feel like the kid in Wolf, Menifee, Florida, whatever, is good as any kid
Yes.
in the state of Kentucky and the United States.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So that's been our motto, is just trying to get the curriculum in place to where we can start going down the road in 2 to 3 years of offering those courses in the 8th grade, and then getting the staff ready to be able to offer those dual credit courses we were fortunate in Breathitt, and you were fortunate in Floyd, that you actually had a college right in that
Yeah.
community, whereas we have to actually send our kids to Mount Sterling to work with Maysville community. But we still, the board pays for the bus to take those kids down, and we pay TC, so the board is committed to that. And one thing I'll speak highly about the board is I think there's only been, and those members are no longer on the board, I think we voted 5-0, 4-0, I don't know if there's been a single vote of opposition to any objective through the state management process, with the exception of the nickel tax, and those two members are no longer on the board. So I will brag on these board members, they are very receptive to the procedures and the protocols in place.
And Tim, I would just echo, all those procedures change culture. The way we do business around here matters. If you have procedures in place that everybody follows, it changes culture. So all that's great.
And one of the things that we did in the last couple of years is, do y'all have somebody appointed to be legislative liaison?
They do not.
No.
We did that a couple of years ago. I'm the legislative liaison, and I get emails from KDE about what bills are being discussed, what's being talked about. They come to me, then it's my responsibility that I forward on to the other school board members about what's going on at the state, and also with the National School Board. I also get legislative updates from them about what bills are being discussed federally. And when I get those emails, then I forward them on to the other board members also. That keeps you all updated and apprised on what's being discussed. And a lot of times in the emails, they will ask you to notify your legislatures in order for or against to try to help with, what's not that what's going to affect the kids.
Sometimes any phone calls do you make about a charter school?
Well, that's true. But
But-
some bills it does matter.
But I will give you one example. We had most would consider upset election in our district where a new freshman Republican beat the Speaker of the House. And I'm not getting into the politics of it, but this Republican, as a freshman, stood up and voted against charter schools on the floor. Because of the
we met with
contacts,
him.
explaining why charter schools is not a good thing. So, and I'm very proud of him for that.
Yes.
And he referenced on the floor that the reason he done that was because of success in Floyd County schools. And he believes that public schools are the way to go. So, I get it, trust me, I beat my head against the wall with charter schools, and I don't want to get into that, but I just encourage you all, Sherry made a great point, stay involved, because it's tough.
Know what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate in Menifee, we actually have a state representative from Menifee.
Awesome. Who is yours?
He's my
David
pastor,
Hill.
David
Yeah,
Hill.
okay, great.
So,
Yeah.
so we've got a connection in
Oh, yeah.
with that.
And he would do anything for our school district, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How else can we help you?
How's the coal savers tax affected you all?
About 380,000 this year. A couple of weeks before that, we got hit with 200,000 loss and seek. And a couple of weeks after that, which I've been fussing now with the Federal Department of Education over Title II funding, which we lost about $270,000 just because they started calculating it different. So we've lost $1 million in the last 6-8 months.
You all know about that, you lost 21. at the
Yeah,
last
we knew
board
that,
meeting.
yeah.
So it's 270,000, all because somebody that nobody can tell me where,
Of course.
Hal Rogers, Mitch McConnell, I've spoke to people, Department of Education, KDE and Federal. Nobody can tell us why arbitrarily somebody said to start using the Census Bureau instead of
So they use census data. now.
Census
Yes,
data.
point of it.
And the people
Yes.
at the Census Department told me they do not recommend their census data being used for any funding levels.
They don't guarantee it's 100% coverage.
Well, they can.
Yeah.
Well, they tell you they only survey 3% of the national population.
Mhm.
So, but the federal people don't even know anything about Census Bureau saying that. So it's really frustrating. So yes, we've been hit with coal severance and a lot of other things. And once again, the whole efficiency piece, and our essential financial question, by the way, is how does the use of the resource improve student achievement in a measurable way over time? Everything we purchase, spend, do, whatever, I always ask the principal that. Tell me how it's going to change this. And then if like our one-to-one, our digital conversion, we're constantly monitoring how that's impacting education. And we just had a report to the board in December. Twice a year, they report to the board on how that's impacting education. And if we get to a point and say it's not really changing how kids are achieving, then I recommend to the board to do away with it.
Let's spend all the money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because for us, the way we done it, by the way, Tim, I think I told you, you may know this, but, and you're fairly small, so it probably worked good for you. We buy 5th and 9th every year. We done this for 2 reasons. So you keep the computer 4 years, and you get a new one if you're 9th grade. If you're 9th grade, we take that one, you leave 12th grade and put it down to 4th grade. So we buy 5th and 9th, so one, it's manageable financially,
Mhm.
and 2, we can implement it slowly with teachers so it's done effectively. You're not trying to train all your teachers at once.
Gotcha.
So what we've done is, our 6th grade teachers trained our 7th grade teachers, our 6th and 7th trained our 8th grade, and same thing with high school. Our 9th trained our 10th, our 9th and 10th trained our 11th. Now this year, will be
Fully.
5th through 12th. And we're only buying 5th and 9th every year. So
Mhm.
financially, there's ways to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
So it take 4 years to get to the point where you're
Right.
cycling again.
Exactly.
But still, that's.
And it really helped me because I did get the question, well, what if my daughter's in 7th grade? She won't have one. I said, well, just like my daughter's in 7th grade, and she's not going to have one for 2 years, so she can go without you, your kid can go without it.
Yeah.
But once again, our board and our community understands systems.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and it, like, we could never financially do it all at once.
We
And
could.
We might could do something like that, you know,
Yeah.
focus on a smaller
And one of the
range.
things that the schools did was they had computer labs already in place. So those kids that got the laptops and they were no longer having to use, it moved down to free those places out for
For
K
more
through the
time.
4 to have more time to get
That's a
more
good
used
idea.
to using the computer, using it by the time that they got their laptops in 5th grade.
That would be good, because I know we're struggling, especially at
Well,
this school, for computer lab
And
time.
we're starting right now, we're actually meeting with, we're going to do Google Docs. We're going to start that process of our learning management system and get those in place. So actually, we'll be starting that at the end of this month. So that's our first phase of, you can buy all the one-to-one devices you want, but if you don't have the staff ready to roll it out.
And that's the key.
Mhm.
You know, we went with Blackboard, we've used it for the LMS for years, and it's been good for us. But yeah, having the management system, having the training, and then having resources for teachers to be able to access to use it effectively.
So I understand Blackboard, how do you use Google Docs in this way?
We're just starting the process with Google Docs, but we will be able to have a classroom to where it will be completely paperless. So every kid, Kelly's already got it set up to where every kid will have a Google Docs account, teachers have Google Docs account. They'll actually be able to drop those in just like you would Blackboard.
Oh, okay.
Other questions?
Question. When you set your goals, you set 5 goals, say in July or whenever you set those, how often do you revisit? You get reports often, but how often do you, for the community, say, here was our goal, here's what we're learning about what's going on in our district, yay or nay, this is great, this is not?
We have one special call board meeting to where we go over all of the goals, to where we show if we met that goal, or how close we got to meeting that goal, what the school district did in order to meet those goals. He actually has it printed out in almost kind of like a little book for us, so we can go through, we can give it to the public, we can, we have it, it's online, it's on our webpage, so anybody has access to it that they can go through, and if we met that goal, then we'll make a recommendation and we'll pass a new goal to raise the bar.
So if you go to our district website, you'll see the annual report, and our goals is on everything. Everything.
Yeah.
From our letterhead to anything goes out of our office, schools, district, t-shirts,
It's Team
It's-
Floyd branded.
everywhere. Our goals are everywhere. I'd be surprised if you asked, 98% of our teachers could tell you our goals. I would say that probably 30% of our community could probably tell you at least 2 or 3 of them.
Because we see them all the time.
We live
Yes.
it, breathe it. I sent out an email 2 days ago to all personnel. Hey, 22 days of school left, let's finish strong. Reminder, our goals.
These are goals.
I mean, we just live our goals. Yeah, it's not something we put up on a wall. Matter of fact, they're not on a wall. Maybe they are on a wall in our district. I don't know if they're on a wall in our office. But we live them more than, I'm reporting all the time to the board. My evaluation, that is my evaluation, the
Yes.
annual report. And it's laid out. Here's our goal. Here's our achievements towards our goal. The whole reports, if you go look at it, you'll see it.
Okay.
It's on there for the last 3 or 4 years.
one thing that's been very helpful with Floyd is they've been they share their information. A lot of districts want to hide their information. They're very transparent.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
I
they want
picked
to
up-
breed success.
I
This
picked up
is the
several
same way we would be.
things from this district.
Yeah.
We've probably been visited by over 100 schools this year. Yeah, and you're welcome, pick a school, we don't care. We've got what we believe is probably one of the best elementaries in the country, and I'm not just saying it because it's ours. But you can pick any of our schools and go in. High schools struggle a little more than elementaries, honestly. But all of our schools, I'd invite anybody to attend.
And it took us, a while to get the Team Floyd going, but now everybody understands, like you said, we're transparent. We feel like all of Eastern Kentucky needs to be better, and it has to start with the education. If there's anything we can do to help, a fellow county get there, then that's what we need to do.
And the reason we push one-to-one so much, and it's not because of the fad, it's because we had this conversation at the board table. Economic development, we're kind of secluded, and, I'm a big thinker. Why can't Silicon Valley 2.0 be in East Kentucky? Because you don't have to be literally physically somewhere to start jobs anymore. And the future, whether we like it, love it, or hate it, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's going to be with technology.
Oh, yeah.
There's already fish in Eastern Kentucky.
Absolutely, a soar, and so,
You have the fiber optics. And
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
perfect.
One of the things that we did with our Early College Academy was we added to the college degree that the kids can get. They do now the applied science, and they do the one that's for the technology.
Coding.
Coding.
yeah.
Coding.
And we got coding all the way down to
C++,
second grade in our
yeah.
district. Last year, I think we had a kid finish second in the state in coding. I mean,
Oh, wow.
so, yeah, and we got 3
Yeah,
teachers that just got the
0, 1,
grant
0, 1.
for computer. I don't know if, Tim, if you all applied. We got 3 teachers just got computer science grant where they're going to Houston this summer, paid training. We're going to have computer science coding classes in all of our high schools next year. Just lots of technology because economic development. Your community looks a lot like ours. Technology, there's no barriers. Roads don't matter. Infrastructure don't matter. So that's why one of the reasons we push it so hard.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we have a kind of a limitation in how much computer access, and we definitely don't have kids coding yet. I think we have kids working in algorithms. I hear that type of thinking, but coding in algorithms is, the outline to what coding really is.
Technology is, we've got to work on it.
Anything we can do to help, just let us know how we're funding, whatever. I don't care. Anything we can do.
Okay,
to
so
help.
when your 4th graders are done with those tablets, can we phone them? It might be an inexpensive way. Your handful of 4th graders would probably be our entire school.
Here's the answer I'm gonna give you that. No, because our kids in Menifee need new items.
We need new.
Well, we need items.
I haven't even shared this with Sherry yet, but this morning our elementary principals made a commitment. We're going to push our laptops down to the 3rd grade. We don't feel like kids below 3rd grade, but our elementary principals made commitments to buy the Chromebooks, which is more like an iPad, for all the K1 and 2 carts. So we're going to start with carts. So our goal within 5 years this morning we set was to be 1-to-1 K-12. So.
McHenry County has the Chromebooks, every student.
The reason we went, once again, this is a totally different conversation, but the reason we went with the laptops because they have a hard drive. And many of our kids don't have internet access at home. You have to have internet access to use Chromebooks. So I can download my homework, I can download this reading material, I can take it home and do
You
it.
can take it home.
That's good.
Here's the deal, is that what you went
Yeah.
with?
Yeah.
Do about $400 and our board bought a backpack for every kid so every kid in Floyd County has got a black backpack, grades 5 through 12. It says Floyd County Schools. It's got a logo. It's all about kids, and it's all.
Goes on it?
No, but you know what? If they didn't change, we would do that. But they do have the logo on there. So
It's a special backpack that's got the pad in it, so
The
it
pad,
protects
right.
the laptop and,
Yeah.
and it eliminates the kids packing
That one
the
right there, you mean?
the dollar store backpack that I had, and Sherry packing the Under Armour backpack. So all our kids are packing them.
Yeah.
No complaints. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Other questions? I know you're all busy. We just drove down trying to help any way we can.
Well, we appreciate
Appreciate
it,
it.
for sure.
I hope it's been helpful.
You said.
It certainly
Yes,
has.
ma'am. You know, I think we're striving that direction, because for one of the first things we did was set goals, and that's not anything that we had before. I mean, maybe we had them, but they weren't expressly written anywhere, and they certainly weren't focused to the schools or the teachers, so. And now we're doing that. We actually read our vision and mission statement at every meeting. They're published behind us, when we have board meetings, so they're viewed all the time. We've got banners up, and so I think we're the right direction. We're nowhere near you, obviously, but we're gonna get there, because it's a goal, and we're gonna get there. It's just gonna take us a while, but we are leaps and bounds better today than we were 3 or 4 years ago already.
During
So-
our cadre meetings and our DLT, the goals are, the principals are, they understand that if they don't meet the goals,
I think so.
or if the teachers, they're just like you, then we may need to find another, maybe this district is not for
This
you.
district's
The
not
other
for
thing
you.
we do, Tim, and I reviewed it again this morning, our principals set individual school goals, and this morning I gave them their last opportunity to change them. Last year, 13 of our 18 schools met those goals. And basically, if they don't meet them, they gotta say why they didn't meet them, because, testing's in 28, or in 8 days. If you don't know what your schools, because we do, you all do interim assessments, I'm sure, think link,
Yeah.
map or
Never
something.
did.
Yeah.
So we set individual school goals too, principals do, and we hold them accountable for that.
Does your site-based council get involved with goal setting for your schools as well? That's good, so you've got a good site-based.
And then when we go in schools, I expect to see them posted everywhere, and you can find them in our schools.
So they've got we developed boardrooms at each of the schools.
Data
We
walls.
got the data walls, the
Okay.
teachers have to go in.
If you came in our,
PLCs throughout we've established PLCs, and they're
Oh.
giving up their
Yeah.
planning, that's not always been popular. But at Tuesday at the elementary school, it's K-8 building, Tuesday's PLC days. And so the
Awesome.
principal starts today, the assistant principal starts today, they do PLCs from 8 o'clock to 3
And-
o'clock.
My words to y'all is to, if you don't understand the data, get to know the data, understand it, know what it means. It was, a couple of years ago, we did accreditation, and we had to sit and talk to the people who were going to accreditate us. And
Advance Ed accreditation.
Advance Ed, yeah. And it was the school board member who got voted out, he's no longer a member, but it was he and I sat and we talked with him. And after about 30 or 40 minutes, we were sitting in our boardroom that had, all the data around it. And that was
It's
one of
in
the
our
first
office.
questions that they asked is, can you explain to us what this data means? Well, Jeff and I just, started in and we literally talked for 40 or 45 minutes, and they said that they were really amazed because most of the time when they go to talk to board members for that process, board members can't tell them what that data means. So that's one of the things is really know your data, know what it means, and understand it, because it helps in the whole process of what you need to do as the leader of the district.
Do you guys, are you all able to, do you have teachers and site-based council members and site-based council teachers or members, parent members, come into board meetings? Because, back in the controversial days, we had a lot
We had a
of
lot.
community sitting
Yeah.
there, but it was just mostly because it was a hot mess, and we were mostly sitting there to say, we're not having this hot mess in our community. But now I would love to see my teachers there. I would really love to see site-based
More-
council be there
And more
because,
parental involvement.
yeah, I'd like to see those, so.
Well,
is
we
there-
do it in a certain way. We have a clipboard set out that if anybody does want to talk to us, they sign that clipboard, put their address, their phone number on it, so we have that information. I go down the list of if you're teachers, if you're parents, if you're students, if you're FCEA, whatever, we give them time to come up and talk, but we don't respond to them during the meeting. We tell them that you have, your say, you can tell us whatever you want, we'll respond to you in writing in a certain amount of time. That way you don't get into that
Controversial.
argument, that controversy. You sit and you listen and you give them time to talk to us. Now, at each meeting, we have our meetings at a different school every month. We travel. We go to a different school every month. And at that school, they do a presentation at every meeting. They go over their data, they tell us, and their site-based council is usually sitting there with them. And that way, if the principal, the site-based council, anybody that's there at that school, if they have anything to talk or to add or to do their presentation with, then we have that conversation back and forth.
And our presentation is systemic across the district, and it's aligned to the accountability model. So they tell us what their college career readiness rate is, what they're doing to address it. If it's a K-5 school, we require K-5 schools to have college career readiness plans. And like, they'll have career days just like high schools. But they present all that. So everybody has the same 6 slides, and they talk about how they address it, and then at the end they share all their accomplishments. Then, of course, the board asks them questions, and they can ask the board questions. But we do that, and it's been great for us.
It's worked really well, and that school also sometimes will have student, different things for us. Some will have their students sing for us. Their choir will sing for us. The other did a wax museum for us the other day. They do it like 30 minutes before the board meeting actually starts. Some will have art display. Allen Central had their band set up in the lobby to play for us for 30 minutes. I mean, so each school will have student work displayed for us some form or fashion, so we can see what's going on at that school.
That's good that you're all in on the buildings too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's easier to keep an eye on facilities and, when you're
Kind of do
physically in
walk-arounds
the
and- yes.
And
building.
we require student work to be posted everywhere, and board members can go down and see that. You can see when you go down and you see Head Start kids writing open response answers, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
And you can see that, board members can see that, they can see feedback teachers are given. So it's really great for the board to get there.
Yeah.
And we're very big
Very
geographically,
good idea.
so that helps not.
That way it helps, so the southern part of the county, they can wait till we come to their school to come to us. They don't always have to drive to the northern part of the county to where the central office is. So that way we travel to each section in the county, and that way they can talk to us.
So yeah, our councils report to us every meeting.
Right, and it sounds like at least you have a way to,
Communicate.
to bring in those councils from time to time.
Yeah.
And that
And you all
sounds-
probably do the councils meetings, right?
We do.
Yeah, we do those too.
You've not been involved in that yet.
Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh, when did it happen?
All your councils meet together.
No, I know that we have, our schools come and they've talked to us individually, just one at a time.
The principals come and report,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
we
a couple of
principals
teachers.
report everything.
and then they get the SPDM report.
Oh, no, that happens.
Are your meetings videotaped and on your website?
No. They're videotaped, but not on our website.
The local media
Local
does,
media kind
they
of
tape them,
Tape 'em.
Mhm.
but we don't, no.
Okay.
We audio tape every meeting and keep the audio tape because our person who does the minutes, even though we use this system, she does that, just to make sure she doesn't make mistakes.
I'm sure that you can find it on
And I'm sure you'll,
EKB News or,
Yeah. well, what's funny is if things are going good, nobody's there, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
we literally,
That's true.
we
There's a
literally,
sign.
we literally had to beg them to come back and start filming. And the reason we did,
Yeah.
not because our board wants to be on TV, because when you got the TV there, there's people more apt to do stuff. But like last meeting, we recognized, God, I bet we recognized 50 kids and probably 15 employees. And we had a humongous crowd, and it's great for the people to see that.
Right.
So I'm sure you're doing that, recognizing kids and adults at every meeting.
Yeah.
If you're not, I'd encourage you to do that.
Like if we had a team that won the region in their competition.
Whatever it is, athletic,
Whatever it is,
academics,
academic,
Yeah.
whatever.
top 5.
We present them with plaques. If we have teachers that became nationally certified, we recognize them and give them plaques. Anything good going on for that month, we try to recognize them and give them certificates or plaques or something to reward them.
We always do student recognitions. We have in the past recognized teachers who've achieved one thing or the other, but maybe we need to focus a little bit more on that staff.
I can tell you
staffing.
what, it really helps change culture. Remember, all those little things you do. If you ask a staff member to step it up, and he or she is, this last meeting we ranked all of our Head Start teachers that were ranked in the top 5 in the region, teacher classroom, they get rated, they get scores by the Head Start we recognized. And you know what, they'll run through that wall now, because the board told them, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
You all recognizing people means a lot.
Yes, it does.
They love to be recognized by the board.
They want to know that their effort hasn't gone unnoticed.
Exactly. And we all strive for that. in
Exactly.
anything.
Everybody likes that.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
So celebrate, once again, I think we do a pretty good job of that. Not only do we set goals, hold people accountable, monitor, measure, provide support, but I think we do a good job celebrating success. and that helps.
I think that's one thing we need to focus on as a board, how to
Morale, I think the teachers.
I think it will too, because that's one thing we struggle with is the culture. And it's, it's getting better, but we still need to improve it, and that's celebrating
Anything change
successes.
the way things used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Change, you're gonna have that culture. at that time.
Absolutely.
Yes, it takes a while, but it's possible. It's
Absolutely.
possible.
Absolutely.
And as long as we just keep our focus that every decision that we make is the best interest of the kids in Memphis County.
Yeah, and just remember, no excuses.
You're good.
Mhm.
No excuses.
So I would leave you with two things, because I know you're, got plenty to do like the rest of us, right?
Mhm.
But you said it earlier, nobody's got time to wait. If your kid's in class today, I don't know if you got kids or not,
I do.
but you want them to have the world-class education today. And we use the phrase world-class education all the time, because it's no longer state of Kentucky. It's no
No.
longer East Kentucky. So if you want that for your kid, why would you not get on fire right now for all kids? And the second thing is, our door's always open. Tim knows my number. You all, I didn't bring cards, but it's on the website. You can call me anytime, any member of our staff. We're really good about sending people to you too. Anything we can do to help, won't charge anything. We don't care. We just want to help people get better.
We appreciate it.
Because it's kids, right? It's kids' lives.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All kids,
Mhm.
all kids.
Thank you all
Thank you
so
so
Thank you
much.
very, very much.
That was just great.
I really appreciate your wisdom
Thank you all for having
sharing
us.
it.
Thank you.
We're good that way, so we don't
Yes, we-
get up the wires, so we don't mess her up again.
Good luck to you.
Thank
If I
you
can ever
very
help you,
much.
just let us know.
We certainly will probably be calling.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Sorry I came in late.
Oh.
We tried to set up a Friends of the Library.
I understand.
And one of our old superintendents was there telling war stories. I was like, I need to be at school.
Just yell at your knees.
Thank you all so much. Sure appreciate you all making the trip down here.
Oh, no problem.
Be careful going back.
I took it.
I'll get mine back. Make sure
I
get it
stole
back.
it. I said, you steal stuff from me all the time.
Okay, thanks. Okay, there's the sign-in sheets going around, and there's the pink sheet. Just if you think about, if you ain't gonna answer any of the first four, that's fine, but if you think about number 5, based on what you heard tonight, if there's something else that you wanna specifically talk about, just jot that down for me, and we'll make it happen. You wanna be in?
No.
We
I'm
copied it
trying, I want to get mine back.
Oh. And this, I gave you all a brochure about this orientation service. I don't know that you all really need this since I'm here a lot anyway, but it's just a new service that KSBA is offering. It's 4 hours of training, just building the new team.
I really enjoyed this meeting today.
Wasn't that cool?
It was good to hear that some of the things that we're doing are gonna work.
Yeah.
That was good.
Affirmation.
I- Yes. And unfortunately, we rely on the principals to bring us student recognition. You know, when we need to focus that out and have the teachers start bringing us things as well, not just, hey, the ball team, and it's great to recognize the ball teams, but maybe we need to go a little bit more.
Oh, I got an idea.
Oh, yay!
Sorry, it just struck me in a big way. I think that we need to have the mantle of attendance. And so whichever school is beating in attendance, we know there's a little bit of that, but I think we should actually have something that we pass,
Like a spirit stick.
like a spirit stick or something that we're, yeah, that we put that attendance.
And you can bounce it back each board meeting, each month. That can be something, yes.
One of you all might be the ones.
We already do that
to hand it
at
over.
Murphy Elementary. We have a contest between
The
classes.
returning principal would have to bring it to us at the
Whoever
board meeting. and
has
we
the
would have
best
to have
attendance at
players
Menifee
do that.
Elementary gets an
That's a
award.
really good
Yeah,
idea.
They get an
into
award,
the-
but
Yes,
whoever's
absolutely.
the loudest and gets the quietest whenever she says.
Public humiliation. We have an idea. Julia had a wonderful idea.
Okay, well, we want
For
a spirit
next
stick
school
for
year, we are going to need a
put them on
spirit
the
stick.
spot.
Spirit stick.
And at each board meeting, we are going to give the Spirit Stick to the school who has the best attendance.
We can do that.
At the next meeting, that school has to bring the Spirit Stick back, and then we will give it to the person for the next month. To try to focus on attendance.
And maybe you have
And-
something different for students and
You
staff.
Yes,
take care of that,
absolutely.
right, Tim?
You wanna combine them, or?
We'll have to figure that out, but I think that's a really good idea, Julia.
And you know our principals, when you look at our principals, that's been a.
Oh, yeah, that's what she's saying,
Yeah.
that's a play they have
There's a
already,
competition
so.
going on
Oh,
already.
yeah,
Jeremy will love that.
Jeremy will, he will
Jeremy
definitely.
probably, the last little bit, probably be losing his stick.
It's been going down a little bit,
Well, I
hasn't
tell
it?
you, Isabella, I mean, she's like, I mentioned something that David's eyes was a little darker here, and I thought, oh, you know, I hope it's not pink eye because there goes perfect attendance. She started crying. Oh, that will cause you to not lose your perfect attendance. Because there's
yeah.
4 of them out of the 5 right now in perfect attendance.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
They
I
will
mean,
keep
it's a
it.
battle within themselves.
Absolutely.
Okay, just wanna let y'all know, appreciate you coming tonight. Floyd County's done wonders. Henry and I worked together for numerous years.
Oh my gosh, does he like take no-dos or something? I mean, he is a full cabinet of me.
He's really, we've shared
After
a
a
lot
full
of different
day?
things.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the year. I mean, we have a good relationship, and they've done really, when you go visit their district, and we've shared items for forever. And,
It's great that they're willing to
he's
share
really-
with us.
he's really good.
Yeah.
I just want to really know, because when I went through and talked to different people about, you know, being able to offer college level classes at the high school, when I went through on their open house, I had 0 takers. Now, I didn't hit every teacher, but nobody said, you know what, it is really my goal to be able to offer a college class in my classroom
Yeah.
at some point in the near
And
future.
that's where we gotta change the mindset.
I was like,
When we start making future
please,
hires,
you
is that
know,
that's gonna be an expectation. That if you
Absolutely.
wanna work here, you need to go back and get your 18 hours where you can do those.
that's 18 hours.
Mhm.
And we've got some of the high school staff that I've spoken with, and I think they're willing to do that.
So even though they didn't tell it to me,
So, yes, and we may be looking at, in the future of offering some incentives for them to help offset some of that.
Yeah, and I have no
That's
problem
important.
with that, you
If
know,
you want that
rewarding
early
them for
college
doing
academy, when I was
something
at
like that.
Breathitt, you have to have teachers that can do those courses, because that way you can go through Moorhead.
Mhm.
And classes are like, you can offer as many courses as you want for $1,000.
mhm.
And that's how they do a lot of theirs, is a lot of their staff actually do those courses. And then they get discounts to make it, but a lot of their credit is offered by their own teachers.
That would be awesome if we could get to that point then, because then it's not such a burden on us, but we can still offer a lot to our community, you know?
They're offering, like I said, I duplicated what they had, and you can offer it for the seat money. Just right at your seat, about $5,000 per kid is what you'll have in that program. And it works out really nice.
Oh, yeah, sounds like it.
And then the one-to-one initiative,
Yeah.
they've got
Oh,
a
wow.
that they use
That's
their
really great.
Title I fund to help purchase their.
We use our Title I for teachers, so,
Lot of time.
yeah, so we
But
have to get
hopefully
to
we
that.
can get our budget to where we can start.
Well, the 5-9 thing he's got going on
And that's-
makes perfect sense
Yes,
on
it
why
does.
they're
But that's
doing
how
that.
they use their federal money to purchase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good idea, because I know they're like us, you know, a lot of their children are free and reduced lunch, you know, they were 70%, 76%, we're
Yes,
81-ish, aren't we? So,
So we're right
so
there.
we're really close, so they have as much
Yeah.
issue with the technology as we do, and they found a way around it, so.
Well, and I wonder, you know, does Dell or does Hewlett Packard or does Lexmark, because Lexmark does have sort of an investment in Kentucky, I mean, do they have any programs? We only, if we did 5-9, we only need 90 computers for our 9th grade next year, and probably less than,
Oh,
If
they'll
you're,
beat, they'll beat your doors down to get in. They're looking, and they'll offer, of course, the state, you will pay, the state has a bid list, and they can't offer, they have to.
They have to meet that list
They
at
have
least.
to be on that, you pay what's on that list.
oh, okay, so we can't write a special grant with,
You could write a grant, yes. I mean, when I was at Breathitt, I wrote a grant for Toyota, and they actually purchased each one of the kids, the laptops for those kids at Breathitt, for those 30 kids. So, yeah, you
But
can
it's just
have
smaller scale, most of the grants are 30 computers that I've
Yeah.
seen that we've been, since I've been on here, like like a classroom, not a whole
But I don't
class,
want them actually
you know
doing
what
an
I'm saying?
actual
But
grant, because if they did that, then it would be every school district
We're
is looking
bombarded.
at those.
yeah.
It's just that it's such a tiny number of folks, 150 computers, it's not like, I mean, there's 450 kids in a Jefferson County freshman classroom, so.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
tiny way of,
Mhm.
your little bit changes.
I think we
But
might
that's
need
a
to
goal
try
of the
to.
board that you need to take a look at. I'm
Yeah.
not saying right now, but it's a future goal for us.
Yeah.
You just have the staff ready to do it
Oh, I know.
before you purchase. And the kids' eyes light up when they get those devices.
Well, like, he said too, I know we've got to get everything in place, but we need to do what we can today for the
And those
children
kids
that
take care of
have.
those devices too.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they treat them.
They're not flung around,
No,
I'm
no,
sure. So, I mean, the quicker we can get staff in place so we can start rocking on that, I think we need to make that one of our priorities, is to try to start. I mean, we've talked about it since I've been on here, trying to get a technology plan started, because we're, trying to play catch up all the time
The thing
instead
about
of
it, you have the
starting and
infrastructure.
maintaining.
We're
Mhm.
very fortunate in Menifee, is because of the mountain telephone.
Yes, with the
You
fiber
have
optics.
Fiber
and
optics,
Yeah,
and we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Most districts don't have that.
yeah, we need to capitalize on that and get some devices going. And we talked about once before, I don't remember if it was in one of our board meetings or one of my trainings, about the bring your own device thing. We might need to try to start implementing that a little bit more until we can
Because a
get
lot
all
of kids will
this.
have those devices, they'll surprise you.
Oh,
with
yeah.
this number, and the
Oh, I've got
fact
5 or 6 of them
Yeah.
right now, so I'm sure.
that they may not have certain items, but there's probably a few things they'll have. They're gonna have satellite TV,
Mhm.
probably have a four-wheeler if it's like where I'm from, they probably have internet access.
Mhm.
And those
Well-
are necessities.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that makes their impoverished world, you're not gonna get a new house, but you can get a new computer.
Mhm.
We're talking
Absolutely.
$400 versus,
Versus.
$20,000, or needing to have a credit line versus,
You
I
can
can
take check.
scrape
And
together
they're
the money
content with
for it.
that.
Oh, yeah.
They're content.
oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I definitely think that's something we need to revisit, for sure.
Do they do grants or anything like
Well, they do scholarships to our
They do
schools,
scholarships.
I think that's what they
They
focus
offer
on
4
mostly.
$3,000 scholarships
Mhm.
for each school. They do that for all 4 school districts.
Yeah,
Yeah, but $3,000 scholarships turned into how many computers? Wait a minute, let me do the
Yeah.
math.
12,000.
Well, now, that's a whole lot of computers.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of computers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, when you think not about helping an individual reach their goal, having many individuals being able to reach their goal.
Mhm.
And a lot of these companies will have options that you can go in and after the 4 years, they'll let you buy back. They'll
Mhm.
buy them back and then you'll
Yeah.
start over.
They'll refurbish them and
So-
sell them. Mhm.
And once again, I mean, I hate to sound, like I'm rushing to the bottom, but, at New Hope, because we've never had the kind of money to buy new computer systems, we've always done refurbed computers, and they're fine, and they are way, we're talking knock off $200 or more, we can get refurbed
I
computers.
don't know whether you can do that off of the state list.
Of
Yeah,
the
I'd say
state
you
list,
can.
yeah, okay, all right.
Well, and your warranties are so limited with them, that it's probably not feasible for us to buy a bunch of those for the schools. Because most of them only come with 30,
But we will
60
definitely take a
day
priority with it, because I like your thought process with it, so.
No, that's good, and I'm,
Yeah.
I'm just
I'm
trying to
not
think
trying
of
to
different
shoot
ways.
you down on
No,
everything.
you
but
just
gotta
gotta
be
realistic.
realistic.
Oh, yeah,
There's a way
absolutely.
You
to
gotta
do
set that
this.
goal, make it a priority. You work to me.
I don't guess you would be upset if we had a one-to-one device, would you, where you can have your own computer?
Did you just see that smile come across his face?
He's been hollering for a laptop, that's one thing he doesn't have. But he has 2 Kindles and 2 Xboxes and a big iPod Touch, so he's not device illiterate over there, but he does not have his own laptop.
Isabella's having to do that with the laptop with her fingers and that kind of thing, and I thought it would be more difficult for her, but son, she has jumped right in there and she is doing, and we do the ABC mouse and that kind of thing with her and stuff, and she loves it.
Hey, I want to let you guys know something that's happening. It looks like on May the 10th, I think, if that's a Monday, the
No, it's a
Menifee-
Wednesday. The 8th is a Monday, it's my birthday, so I know that.
All right.
May.
Well, I'm not really sure, but I wrote a grant and it got all cattywaller and everything, but each of the grade school sections So this is K through 3, 4th through maybe 6th, and then all of bots are having some sort of performance. And I think that the Menifee ones are that Monday, and I guess it's Monday the 8th, that the Menifee ones are having a performance. And once again, you know, if the possibility is there of us being visible, I'm definitely taking the day off because I was, you know, instrumental in getting the money for them to be able to do this, but I would really like to uphold them. What else is going on in the community? Chamber of Commerce is having a dinner in April, their annual banquet. And so they've moved their Chamber of Commerce meetings to the afternoon.
I saw that.
And they had a big turnout, and they
Some
were
new
ready.
blood on there, I
Yeah,
heard.
they were ready to close the whole chamber, so their one big fundraiser is that banquet, if anybody wants to go and have a high-style dinner in Menifee County, right there at the Clark Building. We will do that. I think it's the 27th of April. And the last piece of information that I'd like to share is we are, wait a minute, you have bylaws and then you have the other thing that you turn into the state. I can't remember what it's called because I just keep on wanting to call it bylaws, articles of incorporation, to have the Friends of the Library formed. And that's one step away from applying for our 501c3. And I really would like to see that library, community, school triangle become strengthened, things that we might not have the money as a school to do when we go in to coalition with the library, maybe we're going to be able to do. I know Melissa's helped with a couple of grants, making sure we had the books for our Pride grant. Melissa was the one who got those books ordered for us and things like that. So just thought I'd tell you that because I'm very proud. I've done all the writing and everything. People have shown up and gone, "Oh, that's very nice of you." This whole time, and I'm like, "Yes, it's very nice of me. Anybody want to do something?"
Grant writing is not easy.
So I'm pretty psyched on that one. So those are the big community building. Anybody else? Anything happening in the rest of the world that we need to know about?
You've got the pageant coming up.
Oh, yeah.
The
We
pageant's
have
coming up.
women, beautiful, and it's not, how many women are there this year?
There are eight. There are
Instead of
eight this year.
18, so
Yeah.
that means it will not last day and night, it will only last an evening.
Yes. There's 8 of them this year. The 21st of May, I think, it's whatever that Saturday, 21st, whichever one that is on Saturday, is the pageant. So I know that Carrie's been, doing that.
That will be on your agenda next Thursday.
Oh, good. The revival of Menifee Mountain Memories is on the uptake. There is going to be, and we could be team school board. There's going to be a cornhole contest. I'm terrible at cornhole. When you know how many things I'm involved in right now, my daughter said she officially wanted to get me a T-shirt with everything listed, and so whichever one I'm doing, I just cover up the rest of them with little
Wouldn't all
Velcros.
fit on the back of my shirt.
And so,
also.
yeah, and then take off one and then Velcro over the others if I'm, rubber or whatever. But there's going to be cornhole contest. They're having some Revolutionary War reenactment thing going.
Yeah, she was telling me about that. A whole company, it takes them 2 days to set up and 2 days to take it down. It's so elaborate. They're setting up a whole city.
And
I know you'd be so excited. I knew you'd be excited.
They tried
On
to do that
Back
last
Street
year,
there.
so It wasn't,
Yeah.
it didn't do well.
No, this is a whole different company, what she's talking about it, and it's supposed to be
well, it
It's
was the
very
dude
elaborate.
who did it last year, and now he's inviting all of his friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have mountain corners or something like that where if you know someone who does an artisan project, leather, art, quilting,
beads, whatever.
beads,
Mhm.
anything that they do, that there's gonna be like 3 kiosks set up for them to show their stuff, to sell their stuff. They're gonna try to have a Kentucky Proud booth. Of course, we're gonna have the duck race. And whatever group they're having sing on Saturday night is everybody just all sweat about them, but I don't know who they are.
They open for Alabama.
Yeah, they open for
Uh,
Alabama.
I know they're trying to raise money they're trying to raise like $1,200-1,500 to get them here, just may not tell you that.
But they do bluegrass, they take current songs and they do them
Bluegrass
out and
it up.
bluegrass them. So, and they said, so the whole crowd can sing. and yet you're kind of getting your ears warmed up to some bluegrass sounds, you know, which I think is cool. because
Judge Talford Band.
I gotta write this down, because I've been telling people about this all day and not been able to do it justice.
Jeff Cook with Alabama produced one of the rebels.
Janet Johnson can tell you all about
Janet,
that.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish Dana who was shaking it up when he signed that meeting, so.
anything else, Gene, or?
No, I'm good. I won't be at your meeting next week.
Oh.
That sounded a little sarcastic.
You're gonna miss me the most. But I'll look at this tonight and we'll be in touch about what's next. I know April and May are crazy busy times of year, so we may wait until June.
Okay.
Do a longer session, you know, one night or
Yeah.
afternoon, evening, whatever, and talk about some goals for next year and moving forward. Revisit those standards we talked about.
3 of you are going to the legal, is that correct?
Yeah. Now, just, none of that counts for superintendent or ethics or anything. We are just gonna learn because we learn.
Now, there's another one in July, July
Summer-
7th and 8th, summer leadership. And that's where you can get superintendent evaluation and finance and ethics.
So the one in June in Lexington, we're not gonna get that many hours.
We're not gonna.
You're
Well,
gonna
you'll
get
get hours,
9
just won't be
hours,
the
but
required
it won't
hours.
be on any of those required hours. So
So
you
it's
might wanna
ethics,
wait if you
And I'm
only
taking
want,
off for 2 days.
Finance and superintendent evaluation.
yeah.
Okay.
And what
Yeah.
are those dates for summer leadership?
Well, I'm.
7th and
kinda
8th or
with her.
8th and 9th?
Summer leadership
We're
is
not gonna be
July
able to do what we
7th and
need.
8th in
I
Lexington.
will do the July one then.
Okay.
Is it, okay, is the July one, is it in
Right
Lexington?
now, I just
or
need
Lexington?
June 8th and
Lexington.
9th.
Is it in Lexington this year?
June
or is that-
8th and 9th is legal only,
Okay.
and that you don't get superintendent eval ethics
So
and
do you
finance.
still
So
have
that stands for
Basically,
They're
they're all electives.
Did they just bail on me?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
July
sweetheart,
7th
we're not
and
gonna get
8th is
anything
in
we need.
Lexington.
Well,
And
you
you can
still need
get,
hours.
That
I know.
registration is.
Yeah, you still
It
need
is.
hours.
I didn't think so. I don't think I've received anything on that one yet. Have you got anything for that?
The only thing I got was the
No, I
dates.
just know the
think.
dates.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's I think
usually-
all I saw in the
okay,
email
then
was the
I'm
dates.
on top of that.
yes,
On
you're
the
on top
July-
of it. July 7th and 8th though will be Summer Leadership Institute, that's in Lexington. And that's Friday evening and all day Saturday.
That was my question.
So June,
Okay.
are you going June 8th, 9th? I need to know that.
It's
It's
legal,
there
it will
all
be
the time.
electives.
I tell you what, I've got all my electives in from going in December. I really just need to get my requirements done. It's not like I need
No,
elective
it's
hours
fine.
right now.
Okay,
Okay.
yes. Good thing you're not.
And once again, if it's in Lexington, it's not like I need housing or anything. I'll commute.
Yeah, that's the way I designed it.
Yeah, yes,
No, so,
yes.
So just hold off until you see that Summer Leadership registration now, which will be later in June,
okay,
maybe the 1st of June.
all right.
Okay, I thought of another question. This, you know, when you guys are doing go-to-meeting, what is it called?
E-meeting.
E-meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can bring up my agenda item, I can bring up my
Attachment.
attachment,
Mhm.
and sometimes I get this big list, and it's kind of like in a different color, like maybe even an orange. But I tap on that and it doesn't lead me anyplace, and I can't figure out what it is, and I think it has to do with superintendent evaluation.
Oh,
I
is
think
it,
that's-
is it are you trying to click on where the things that
Where
she
the
puts
goals
in there,
are
where
put
the
in?
goals are
Where
set?
the-
Where the goals are,
We
right.
just need to get with Chelsea, so
Okay.
you can kind of
I
guide you with that. I've never
Our
seen
agendas
that.
are set up to match that.
It just
That
tells you
computer's
what
up, we
agenda
can-
item
There you go.
that
We can just do
references.
it, and then once the meeting's over, you can just show me.
Okay, thank you. That's my last burning. So that's actually what I've done in my little pink paper. If she can answer my question, then you might not have to teach me e-meeting
Okay,
stuff, because I might be able to.
okay. And there may be something at a conference too,
Yeah.
for you to go to.
Makes e-meeting more meaningful. Zen e-meeting.
Is there any more communication and sharing?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I agree, yeah.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays, we're adjourned.